We talk Spanish between each other, so when we're out, we just speak Spanish. It's weird for us actually to speak English. So sometimes I'm scared because you never know who's gonna turn around and be like, "Don't speak Spanish, you're in America." But I've learned that that's who I am, and that my accent makes me who I am, and I wouldn't be where am I right now if I was scared of who I am.
We're here with Diana Esquivel. She is an architect in training here at CSNA Architects in Colorado Springs, and I'm glad to have you here as my guest today. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into this field.
I'm actually from Costa Rica. I grew up in like a couple different countries when I was a kid. I moved a lot. Ended up in Puerto Rico when I was 11. And then I went to the University of Puerto Rico for my bachelor's in environmental design and then my master's in architecture. And I've been here at CSNA for almost 3 years.
In your work here, what kind of projects have you spent your time on, and do you have a favorite that you can talk about?
Well, the cool thing about CSNA is that we're a small office and we're not specialized on something specific. So in my 3 years here, I've been able to get involved in different type of projects. So I've done from a fitness center for a club to a remodelation of a church. We're doing a couple of things with Colorado College. I feel like it's really interesting for me because I'm pretty young, so I was just in college. So doing things for universities is kind of, I feel like I'm doing it for myself.
Sure.
Right now I'm working at a project in Minnesota. It's a prep dorm for a school, for high school. So I went to a boarding school when I was in high school.
Okay.
So, I feel like,
personal.
doing areas where people are gonna sleep because they're away from home. It's kind of close to home for me.
So what was it like growing up in Costa Rica and then moving to Puerto Rico?
So I lived in Costa Rica for almost like 4 or 5 years. Before that I lived in El Salvador and in Belize. And I went to other countries also because of my dad's work. So when I moved to Puerto Rico, I was, like I said, I was 11. I was in 6th grade. And kids at that age are mean. And even though both countries speak Spanish, we had different accents. And people used to make fun of me and like mock my accent. So I actually, as a defense mechanism, I changed my accent. So when I speak Spanish, I speak Puerto Rican. So Puerto Ricans are really proud of their culture and heritage. So I feel like living in Puerto Rico was not as different as living in Costa Rica. I felt like I was just part of Puerto Rican culture. And I think that's one of the big things that it's hard for Latinos to understand that you come here and it's not gonna be as easy as just come in and they will give you everything because you're an immigrant and that's it. You have to fight for it.
Yeah. So how do you, going through the experience that you have to get to this point, how do you feel when you look back on those years, and how does it make you feel today?
I'm really proud of where I am and how I got here. I'm really proud of my parents also because I know I'm here because of them. They decided to, I have 2 older sisters. They were in college when I moved to Puerto Rico. So my parents decided to leave them and come to Puerto Rico and having that in the back of my head, I'm always like, no, I have to keep fighting. I'm right now studying to get my license. It's 6 exams. I only have 2 more left. And every time I'm kind of hard, I don't want to do it anymore, I'm just like, I'm done. I don't want to study anymore.
Yeah.
But then I think about all of that and I'm like, it's hard, but I can do it.
Yeah.
My mom used to say, the best thing God made was one day after the other. So if today didn't go well, tomorrow will be another day and you can make it go better. And if it doesn't, there's another day. There's always a day after the other. I think if people are struggling because they feel like they miss home, like the language is a barrier. I remember when I first started here, I knew English, I knew how to read, I knew how to speak, but I didn't do it all the time. We speak Spanish, me and my husband, we speak Spanish between us, so it's not like I practice it a lot. So when I first started here, I was scared of talking or or just, when there were people that I didn't know, because I know I have an accent and it's gotten better. It was really bad at the beginning. It might still be bad sometimes, but hey, that's what makes me me. So I think, you just have to embrace yourself and be proud of where you come from and how you sound when you speak. I think that's kind of
Agreed.
what I want people to understand if they're struggling. Just embrace who you are and don't be scared, and things get better.
Well, Diana, it was a pleasure to speak with you. I wish you the best in your career, and
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to hear your story.
Sure, thanks for having me. I like talking about, how people can get better if they feel like they're struggling.